The busy League One slate continues this Wednesday as the Greenville Triumph play host to Central Valley Fuego, presented by Hummel North America, official kit partner of the Greenville Triumph. Welcome one and all to the broadcast for the first time this season. I'm Mark Schoenster, and I'm joined by Ross Davenport. Ross, nice to have you back in here doing these Greenville home games as we look at the standings, brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center.
Great to be here, Mark. Thank you. Well, early days, obviously, in the standings. Greenville won't like where they're sitting right now, but a win tonight could certainly perhaps have brought them not close to 11th, but no further up the table, that's for sure. But Charlotte, a game tonight too, they could really pull away at the top with only 5 games played.
As we take a look at our player swatch, starting with Tevin Shaw. Now, in his own right, he's a talented player, but the reason we're highlighting him, Ross, is because his role changes significantly tonight. Yeah,
normally a defensive midfielder for Greenville, the 26-year-old former Tucson man from Jamaica. He will play right back tonight. He certainly has the tackling skills and athleticism to play there. It's just going to be a question of positioning, communication with the center backs, and he's obviously got to worry about Viljan Bijev.
Yeah, Bijev will be over on that left-hand side, matched up with him. We know how dangerous a prospect he can be, a veteran in USL, and they're just looking to get him activated once again, and tonight could be a chance for him to do that.
Yeah, the 30-year-old Bulgarian. He actually spent time with Liverpool as a youth, a ton of USL Championship games under his belt. Hasn't quite got off to the offensive start we thought he was in USL League One, but always a danger to score goals like this from anywhere on the field.
A lethal threat from that outside, and that's where they like him to be, is out in that wing area, and he'll be up against Tevin Shaw. Could be the key feature of this evening's game. With that in mind, we're going to step aside for a brief break. When we come back, we'll have the lineups and then the first half of action here between the Greenville Triumph and Central Valley Fuego on ESPN+.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know,
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
We offer a full array of dental treatment, and what that provides you as a patient is you're able to come to one place and get comprehensive care under one roof.
I've always been greeted with a smile. They know me when I call. I trust them.
We'd love to see you at Wood Creek Dental. Visit us at woodcreekdental.com.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
A wonderful day in Greenville. This USL League One broadcast is presented by Hummel North America, official kit partner of the Greenville Triumph. As we welcome you back here to Paladin Stadium for the second game ever here for the Greenville Triumph. They are playing host to Central Valley Fuego. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport on ESPN+. We welcome you in once again as we take a look at the Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System starting lineup, starting with the Greenville Triumph.
Well, 2 changes, Mark, for John Harkes from Saturday's 4-1 loss at Madison. Jonah Bigger comes in for the injured Wu, and Lucas Coutinho comes in for Labovitz. But obviously the big news, the injury situation for the Triumph.
Noah Pilato scored his first goal since 2020, but as you mentioned, these injuries, not only is it a long list, but also look at the concentration of the positions, Ross. All defensive players. And it sucks when you have a lot of injuries, but it's particularly bad when you're just scrambling to figure out how you're going to line up as we look at the Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System lineup for the visiting side, Central Valley Fuego. Same old from them.
Yeah, for Martin Vasquez, no changes. Obviously, the two key absences, still Opek Antman. Great season last year, his first season in League One, but between the pipes, he's still out with a knee injury, and Jose Carrera Garcia continues to deal with some visa problems.
Cerritos, always dangerous behind that attacking line of Bijev, Jaramillo, and Casillas. He's already proven that he can whip in a goal, blast one into the back of the net. He did it against Chattanooga a couple weeks ago, and he is such a talented prospect, highlighted by both coaches. Usually when you talk to Martin Vasquez, and this week John Harkes also said his praise of one Alexis Cerritos.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous front four, Mark, with Cerritos, Casillas, Bijev, and Jaramillo, and Victor Falk behind. He can strike them from distance as well. Greenville, I think they'll be able to cause some trouble for this back line. It's going to be the other way around that's going to be the problem. We mentioned a high school player, attacking midfielder at left back, a defensive midfielder at right back, Tyler Polak, normally a fullback, he's in at center back. It's just going to be a case of hang on, hold on here, and just hang around and see if you can stay in this game until the final quarter.
It'll be Leo Castro, who will probably be playing up the center today, and we are underway between the Triumph and Central Valley Fuego here in this Wednesday fixture. And there is Tevin Shaw from that right back spot.
Yeah, John Harkes mentioned he didn't want Tevin to get too far forward, but that's a good start.
Castro has it over on that right-hand side. And that one is ushered out of play for a Fuego throw. And the chance to feel out that spot here quickly and early.
I mentioned it in the opening. Tevin Shaw has all the physical attributes to play right back. It's just going to be a question of getting accustomed to having guys inside of you, which he's not used to when he's in defensive midfield, right? Everybody's outside of you in that situation. Obviously, two veterans to his left, which helps as well.
Now he'll be working along with, of course, Evan Lee to his left, and then you've got Aaron Walker and Noah Pilato, whom will also be helping him cover all the spaces defensively. Talking to John Harkes about this situation, he said it's nice though when you have players who can say, I can do the job, I'll step up and I'll make it happen. And he called Tevin Shaw a quiet leader and an honest player. He mentioned he'll be able to distribute from that spot, and he especially wants the help in shoring up their transition defense, as that header is off the mark for Castro.
Good delivery from Tevin Shaw. They're getting further forward than perhaps we thought we'd see him. Listen, John Harkes has always been a guy who likes to bring in players that can play multiple positions, especially when you have the short roster now with the CBA. You're limiting your numbers a little bit, depending on the team, obviously. Greenville, certainly not one of the bigger budgets in USL League One.
Flexibility is a must.
You got Coutinho can play 8, 9, 10 if he needs to. You got Devin Boyce can play out wide. He can play in the middle. I'm not sure Tevin Shaw expected to play right back at any time this season. But with 5 defenders out, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
You see a need and you fill the need.
Hassan Gabo, the only defender on the bench this evening, and he's certainly not fully fit by any means, coming off an injury, still yet to make his League One debut.
Ref says fair game there as Walker knocks into Cerritos. Shaw with another ball.
That was being kind, Marcus. Tip check. Got away with it, though.
Gabo Lanez sends this one inside. It's knocked away by North. Boyce tried the volley.
Encouraging hard start here from the home team, Mark. Showing some early zip getting forward. You know what an early goal would mean in this one.
Well, the early goal was one of the things Harkes was talking about on the other side, that they've been conceding early and they're playing catch-up the entire time. Not exactly helpful. Polak trying to run by 2 separate players there, Casillas and Bijev. For this visiting side, Central Valley Fuego, they played last Wednesday, so it's been a whole week. Bit of a weird scheduling quirk. They played 1 Knox and a 1-1 draw on the road. We get this corner kick here, this PNC's corner for kids.
Yeah, Fuego, just like they did last season, Mark, have shown moments of brilliance. Just really haven't been able to put it together yet for 90 minutes. But they're a very, very dangerous side.
Coutinho is able to find Polak. Polak Gotta hold your breath there if he was gonna take a shot there. A rare occurrence.
Never scored in USL League One. I think he certainly has the most appearances without a goal. He's certainly in the top 10 in all time in appearances in League One. If not number one. I haven't checked my rankings in a while.
Not to mention he's also playing center back today, not in his normal spot, and going up and letting one fly.
Such an important leader for Greenville. John Harkes mentioned him this week. I think he talks about it every week, just how important he is to the squad. Part of the new leadership committee that they have on this team now, along with Aaron Walker and Lee.
And he called Pollock, he's been a rock this season for us. I believe that was the word he used.
Brandon Fricky as well, who's making his way back from off-season hip surgery. Should be back maybe in a few weeks. Should be cleared for training soon, for at least. Been a big loss in the center of this Greenville defense, but getting back 100% healthy. Have to wait a little bit. Hey, Mark, it's a rough start, but if you had this spell in the middle of the season, we'll get to that in a second.
Boyce, nice that one inside, and it's headed away. Walker services it in. Here's bigger.
If Greenville had had this rough spell in the middle of the season, perhaps nobody would be talking about it. Remember Tormenta last year had that awful patch at one point. Hold on.
Gavilanes plays it in, and it's headed away. And we're going to get another corner kick here. Yeah, Ross, I think that the fact of the matter is, when you haven't seen them win yet, people come to the conclusion that we don't know if they're capable of winning yet. Coutinho with the service. It's pinged away by Bijev. Corner taken quickly.
Yeah, they got off to a slow start last season and recovered obviously nicely. And Tormenta had a spell last season, obviously the champions in May, June. They won 1 game in 8 and were outscored 11, 3 and 4 losses during that span. And obviously came back to win the title. So I don't think anybody needs to panic yet. There's also obviously some concern, mostly on the health side of things. But I think no time to panic yet for sure. And 3 points here would certainly be crucial though, with the trip to Lexington coming on Saturday.
Out on the East Coast right now, Central Valley Fuego. I mentioned that 1-1 draw with 1 Knox last Wednesday. Martin Vasquez, the head man, mentioned that we predicted they would come out with that high press, and those first 15 or so minutes of that game were pretty tough for Central Valley Fuego. He called them a good side, especially with the home crowd giving them some of that extra energy. He called them a bit flat to start. So we were too reactive, but after we conceded, we played a lot better. We're seeing here right now that they're pretty much on the reacting end of everything in the opening moments of this game. Devin Boyce.
Late call there. BJ went down. I'm not sure if Emma Richards had a look at that or she heard it from her assistant referee. But a very positive start here for the men in green, Mark. All things considered.
Coutinho, just running by the back of Bijev and clipping him on his way.
Aaron Walker clearly out to make a point tonight. He's been everywhere so far. He's perhaps lucky to be on the field at the end of that Madison game after that brawl. Certainly the leader of this team from the middle of the park. He played a little deeper tonight with Tevin Shaw playing at right back. We saw Walker really come into his own last year, Mark, pushing a little further forward than he had been in previous years.
Long ball forward for Castro from Gavilanes. It's into the hands of North, who will quickly distribute it right back to Dabo. Saturday, you just mentioned it, 4-1 loss against Forward Madison.
Yeah, the score was a little deceiving, I think. When you look at the stats and the game as a whole, obviously some of the goals were very poor on Greenville's behalf, especially the penalty and that goal given away on the transition. The own goal, obviously, the first goal was a little sloppy. It certainly wasn't a 4-1 game. John Harkes is always a guy who looks at the performance over the result. He wasn't too upset about it. He said he was upset at the transition defense, obviously. And the fact they didn't finish that penalty. Should have been a closer result for sure. I think Madison were a little upset at that cup loss and were ready to take it out on somebody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Greenville just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's rough from Tevin Shaw.
There's going to be a whistle that's going to blow this one dead. Stroke of luck, I would say, here for Greenville.
Not sure what that was. Emma Richards wants a word with somebody.
He's going to go and talk to Diego Casillas. the one who was about to orchestrate the counter there. Now, John Harkes mentioned that we created moments, and I thought we played well in the first half, then just lack of discipline in 2 moments, and suddenly you're down 2-0. Fourth. Play this back out.
Pay very close attention to this Gavilanes versus Fourth matchup tonight, Mark. Gavilanes with the pace and skill, I think, to beat Fourth. Not traditional right back, more of a center back by trade. Let's see if Gavilanes can take it.
The whistle blows again.
Offside? Not sure what.
I didn't think it was offside, though.
Alexis Cerritos, one of the best sneaky signings of the offseason. I know there were several managers after him. One of the best young talents in League One.
Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
Lee getting forward is almost a fullback.
Had a lot to work on after that Madison game is what Harkes said about his side. He mentioned they had a great meeting on Monday, though people were held accountable, and it was a very positive discussion. Coutinho with the exchange gets it right back. Coutinho still going. Coutinho dribbling on, and his shot trickles in and through. No whistle blown, and the Triumph have the lead.
Well, the Fuego are incensed. They wanted to foul inside the box on Coutinho, but Emma Richards let them play on. And Greenville with their first League One goal this season. Jared Mazzola making his way
down there.
all the way up from his goal. You can see what that means to the Riot.
Mazzola and Coutinho doing a little celebration amongst each other. Here's a look at it again.
Oof, I think the studs were up on Coutinho, but I don't think there's any recklessness in it. Taking a look at here from a closer angle.
I mean,
it went down very easily, Dick Casillas.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything there.
So it wasn't a slide or a real run up to it. And Lucas Coutinho, see what that goal means to him. What it could mean to this injury-ravaged Greenville Triumph team.
A gritty goal. He works through several players, keeps on fighting, and is able to knock it through with a little help from a deflection.
That's what Coutinho was brought in to do last year. Didn't have the greatest season, was injured at times, would pop up occasionally. He finished that game strongly on Saturday. Had a late chance against Madison. I think Greenville deserved the lead here, Mark. 11 minutes in, they've certainly been the better team.
Well, now we'll see how Central Valley responds, because they've had virtually nothing offensively. I mean, Mazzola so unbusy that he had the time to sprint down the pitch and celebrate with the rest of the crew.
One thing I mentioned to John Harkes in the call this week was that perhaps adversity like this can bring you closer as a team. You're really having to work extra hard to get anything out of a game with the situation they're in at the back. An early goal like this, we talked about it earlier, Mark. Huge one for a team like Greenville that can sit back. Obviously, it's not sitting back with the usual four they normally have at the back. Aaron Walker can sit a little deeper, perhaps not just yet, as the game goes on. But you really don't want to invite pressure with this front four either. So if Greenville continue to push and press and seek that second, which has been so important, Mark. I think not many two-goal games for this Triumph side going back to last season. Something like one in the last 17 or 18 games.
That'll get the fans more into the game. Maybe some rejuvenation there from them. The first lead of the season for the Greenville Triumph as Boyce tries to track that one down. Jordan Chavez is going to be called for the foul.
Emma Richards is not off to the best start here, Mark. That's some very strange decisions in the first 13 minutes. It looked like it was shoulder to shoulder. I didn't see anything wrong with it initially, and I was surprised when I heard the whistle. It was right at the ball, Devin Boyce, shoulder to shoulder. Nothing wrong with that at all.
That's just the bigger Jordan Chavez at 6'3", besting 5'9" Devin Boyce.
You can't take away somebody's physical attributes, and that's exactly what Emma Richards did there with that free kick decision. You can see Billy Ambijev just looking incredulously at the referee. The goal was perhaps a 50-50 decision, right, on Coutinho. That could have gone either way, but that one there should have gone in the favor of Fuego. I said the Fuego, Mark. I got to put a quarter into the pot.
Drop it into the.
I was going to try and go 90 minutes without it. Let's see what goes on. Gavilanes can strike them. with his left foot.
Coutinho and Gavilanes sitting by the ball.
People don't have the greatest history with goals from set pieces, but
Gavilanes takes it himself, and it nearly dips down enough. Mitch North also colliding with the woodwork there. He seems to be all right, but hacking smart.
yeah, I think North had that one covered. Decent strike by Gavilanes. Never likely to threaten Mitchell North's top corner.
I'll go out. Talking with Martin Vasquez. Busy week for them. They played last Wednesday over in Tennessee, and then they've got this game today, and then they've got Charlotte on Saturday. And I asked if they're really doing any training at all, or is it mainly just recovery? And he said with all the travel and intense games, including playing 120 minutes in the Open Cup, we've been focused on recovery. He mentioned that the guys are match fit now after a couple games in and are ready to bring the necessary intensity. He mentioned we've got our legs back, and the emphasis this week has been the less, the better.
We had a good chat with him about set pieces, Mark, and the importance of set pieces. That one there could have been a costly one. It's probably the fair. Things evened out in the end with the shot missing. Didn't cost the visitors.
That needed to be cleared away by Chavez. Coutinho was turning on the burners. Pilato doing well there. In essence, boxing out and winning the ground necessary for where the ball would land. Here's Shaw with some space to go forward. He tried to connect with Boyce. Quickly thrown in. And it's pinged right back out for a Greenville throw. You see John Harks there as his side throws it back in. He called Central Valley Fuego a side that could change shape often, and he mentioned that sometimes that can bring that inconsistency with you, which was something that we've already discussed, is that the Central Valley team can come in many different shades. This one played back by Dabo. North under pressure. Just got that by Castro. And Dabo's not out of the thickets yet. Partita.
Dabo, you and I talked about it earlier. Mark, more of a defensive midfielder, filling in for Francois Delis for now. He's coming back from injury. Looked a little sketchy there on the ball for a second. Got away with it.
A team full of quality players. And they like to free up their playmakers. That's what John Hark said about this Central Valley Fuego team. And he said, we've got to rise up and we've got to fight. Both in context with this game, but also just in with how the season has started. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Martin Vasquez talking about this Greenville team. I asked him, I mean, do you think that there's a reason for concern looking at Greenville? And he said, well, John Harks knows it's a marathon, so obviously he'd like to have a better start than they've had to start the season, but he knew that John Harks isn't panicking. And I don't think for any reason he felt that Harks should be panicking either.
I don't think so in this league with how tight things are going to be this year, Mark. Teams are going to take points off everybody else. I don't think anybody's going to be super far behind come the halfway point or anything like that. It's going to be a tighter affair the whole way. And 2 or 3 wins in a row and you could vote yourself up the table just like last year. Greenville, again, they got off to a slow start last year and figured it out. And they certainly weren't this banged up. It's a long way to go in this one, though.
I think they'll come around, is what Martin Vasquez said about Greenville. They'll get healthy, they'll get fit. And he mentioned, and with all that in mind, this game will be tough for us. It's not to say they wouldn't be a formidable foe now. Antonio Jaramillo, we haven't really said his name yet today. Wearing the number 9 and playing at that.
He's very much built like a traditional 1990s number 9, Mark. Big, tall, not the quickest in the world. Got dispossessed there. He's gonna have to get back and help out.
Gavilanes with some room to operate. He's joined by Castro. Gavilanes shoots right into the arms of Mitch North. Falco. Play it back to Casillas. Can't get it by Gavilanes. Here's another peek at that breakaway from Gavilanes.
He's quickly becoming one of the more efficient wingers in the league, Alan Gavilanes. First season wasn't particularly effective, but last year such a threat, taking people on and shooting from distance as well. He's one of those guys you have to always keep an eye on as an opposing team. Greenville doesn't have too many of those guys, right, Mark? But Gavilanes, you've always got to know where he is. He's got the speed, and ball skills, technical ability.
I say he's shifty.
Yeah. Doesn't have the height, obviously. Listen, guys are playing in League One, a lot of these guys, because they're short of one attribute, right? Whether it's pace or technical ability or speed. This league is not short of quickness, especially on the wings.
Dabo will play it over to Cerritos. He's able to slip it through, and Lee will get called there. He had Jaramillo in a bit of a grapple there.
It's not a bad foul. Evan Lee with the closely shorn look. If you ever want to have some fun on Google, go back and look at Evan Lee's haircuts over the years. Back to his college days, he's editing everyone in the book.
Trying something new each year.
I keep promising every year we're going to do a graphic of Evan Lee's haircuts, but we haven't got to it yet. Maybe one of these days.
I'll have to do some convincing to some of our producers. Coutinho bringing his way down the pitch. Rolls it to Gavilanes. Gavilanes with the ball inside, trying to connect with Castro. It's Coutinho again. Still been all Greenville to start the first 20 minutes. Walker thought about the shot. Now Walker floats this one inside, and Partida knocks it away for a corner kick. Was not going to let Devin Boyce get on the end of that.
Greenville continued to threat here. That was a good early ball in from Gavilanes looking for Castro. Intercepted by Dabo. The key to that was the early delivery. Getting in ahead of that striker. Dabo was just in the right place there. Knocked that one away. Another corner here for Greenville.
So it'll be another PNC's corner for kids. The first corner kick featured a Tyler Polak shot attempt, or at least that's what I think was going on. It got deflected.
Nearly at halftime. We are at halftime in the other game tonight. Mark, Charlotte and Omaha 0-0 at the break. Keep tabs on that one as it goes along. Two of the hotter teams in League One.
Gavilanes plays this one in,
Oh.
and it's down past the keeper.
Mitch
Cleared
North.
away by Falk.
Mitch North came a flapping and didn't make contact. That was almost a critical mistake. If you're going to come as a keeper, you've got to get something on it. And that wasn't his finest moment. He's been very solid so far in place of Ofek Antman.
Evan Lee playing it to Castro. Out wide to Gavilanes. He's on the right-hand side now. Gavilanes' ball is in there, and it's just over the head of the three Greenville bodies, Evan Lee in particular. Exasperated about missing that chance.
Yeah, spacing was a little off there. Three Greenville players within 5 yards of each other. Fuego really not posing any threat in the final third at the moment. Gotta be careful though, because this man can do magical things. Well, that wasn't magical. That was whatever the opposite of magical is.
Pedestrian.
Okay.
I don't think that's actually,
I'll go with
actual
it for
opposite,
now.
but you know what, it works though in the situation. That was the first word that came to my head. Lots of adversity to start this season. John Harkes, we talked a lot about it. Obviously, it's sort of the elephant in the room right now. As Walker drives it forward. Gavilanes now. Still Gavilanes back across the center. It's Boyce. He shoots. And it's saved by North. And Ross, I almost am wondering what withdrawing Aaron Walker was doing there. Maybe it was just out of his reach anyway, but I thought that was going to connect with Walker oh so nicely.
It was good work by Gavilanes on his off foot. He's just too far ahead of Walker. Got stuck under his feet a little bit, Devin Boyce, but good work. I did mention to you before this game, Mark, I thought that the Triumph could put some pressure on this Fuego back line. They've certainly showed it so far.
Cerritos surrounded by green jerseys. Ozzy Ramos plays it back to Dabo. As I was saying before that breakaway, Greenville trying to have deliberate practices while also recovering. He's mentioned with all of the issues we've been having, the rocky schedule has also not exactly helped. He said, but we've maintained a positive mindset throughout it. And that can be tough to do sometimes, because when you're constantly changing your formation personnel, you can't develop that chemistry. That's by nature, you can't.
Fuego have had their own injury problems on the back line too. We mentioned it briefly earlier. Abdul Razak Kwamwal, some USL Championship experience. He was perhaps supposed to start at the fullback. One of the fullback spots, Francois Delis as well, in the center back. So they're all banged up as well. Should mention that for sure.
Gavilanes chips this one up. Castro. So he'll get waved off. Well, at halftime, we'll talk a little bit about their away uniform, the Greenville Triumph. They're not wearing it today, obviously, since they're home, but the lunar kit, very nice looking, and also has a nice little background as well, and tied to the county.
It's very cool. Greenville does a great job with their kits, as do many of the teams in USL League One. Some put a little more effort into them than others.
Well, they're certainly the Jersey giant, I would say, of League One, but that's not even just League One in general. Can't overlook what all the other clubs are doing just because of one particular franchise having gained so much notoriety for it.
I'm not going to comment, Mark. I'm going to behave myself. Yeah, Madison does do a great job with their kit and their leisure wear, to say that. Obviously played very well on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's entirely a good thing for the league, too. Ultimately, iron sharpens iron situation. Of course, talking about kit release is not actual soccer, but it could still be applied there. I think the kit game throughout the years has gotten better and better.
I think 5 years in now, I think we need to come up with a top 5 kits, Mark, for our next game.
That'd be good. I would
I would
ponder that.
One.
That'd be tough. We've had some really good looking kits.
Especially with most of the teams having 3 kits these days. I think the Greenville tartan kit is still my favorite of Greenville's.
Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, MLS, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. We got a whistle here. Victor Falk went down.
That's going to be our first card of the night for Devin Boyce.
Boyce with his second yellow of the season. If you are tuning in a little late, you see the score line. A Lucas Coutinho goal earlier on in the match in the 11th minute. Fought through 2 defenders and was able to win a deflection on his shot that went in. Here's a look at this transaction again.
Just clumsy from Boyce. No need for that. It's a bit of a silly yellow card for him to take at this point in the game. Like 70th minute, okay. And now he's going to hang in there for an hour and be careful. Devin Boyce is one of those guys that gets all over the place and loves to make big physical tackles. Now he's going to have to think twice the rest of the way.
Typically all over the place. You mentioned earlier, we talked a little bit about set pieces. We had a pretty good conversation with Martin Vasquez about it, like you mentioned, and they looked pretty good last Wednesday against Knoxville, so I asked him how much time they put into working on those and workshopping and honing those out. And he said, I mean, look across leagues everywhere in the world, all the way from here to the Premier League, as here's Greenville coming through, slipping to Castro, just too far ahead of him.
Evan Lee making one of those trademark marauding runs up the middle that he loves to do at least once a game normally.
Ramos will play it back to North. We're nearly a third of the way through this game, and Greenville Triumph have had all of the momentum.
Fuego, no shots on goal, no touches in the opponent's box so far. If John Hart's could have written up a script for the first 30 minutes of this game, I don't think it could have gone much better. Maybe an extra goal would have been nice. Jonah Bigger under some pressure.
Casillas into the 18, and it's knocked away from him by Polak. I think that's the first time they've had the ball inside of the penalty area. And now Devin Boyce plays it forward for Coutinho, but it's just too far ahead. Dabo plays it back in the middle for North.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Jonah Bigger, coming into this season, thought how much he was going to feature. He's more of an attacking midfielder. The high school senior. And called into action.
When duty calls.
The left back spot for the first time this season. He's stepped up in a big way as the young man.
Going to be going to the University of South Carolina. Can you imagine how much more confident he'll be going into that, having played these games?
Tevin Shaw pinching in and helping from his right back spot there.
Some of his habits kicking in.
Zola, he's had a relatively solid start to the season, made some good saves. He's also had a couple of mistakes. His first season as a starting professional. Knowing how to play. Didn't play much at all last year behind Paul the Wall.
You'd say he's been thrown to the fire a little bit if you want to come to his defense. That would be one of the arguments one could make.
Well, listen, as a goalkeeper, having a consistent back four in front of you is a great thing, but when it doesn't go to plan like this season has so far for Greenville, it's not great as a keeper, especially when it's your first year as a full-time starter. You want to build those relationships with your back four, especially communication-wise. All things considered, other than that one mistake that led to a goal, Jeremy's always done all right. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm going to have a water break.
The referee has indicated a safety and hydration break for the players. The break will last.
So they're going to call a hydration break here in Greenville. Pretty warm day in Greenville, South Carolina, but I think this one has to account for the humidity a little bit because it's around the upper 70s, so it's not the blistering heat that sometimes we've seen across League One. Certainly no Tucson weather, but
we'll get there. It's only April.
Exactly.
John Park's always animated in the team huddles. Always something to say. I'm trying to read lips, Mark. Something about dropping. Something about dropping deeper.
Yeah, 73 degrees around that right now. No huddle for Central Valley Fuego.
They don't do things the traditional way, Mark. We all know that.
They've got their own method of handling these moments, and Arks is going to take every single second, minute, moment he can that he has with his guys to give his instruction. Got Cerritos and Ramos there.
Cerritos, you can see he's a little frustrated right now. He hasn't been around the ball a ton. Missing Jose Guerrero Garcia, one of the biggest off-season signings. Obviously, everybody picking from the Chattanooga squad. He was probably the captain, the leader of that team in the middle.
Yeah.
He was going to play that role here with Fuego. Didn't say there. But obviously, having some visa issues. We'll see if he gets cleared soon. I know Martin Vasquez would love to have his midfield general in there to run the show.
Yeah, he was kind of the highlight acquisition for them this season. Action resuming here. These two sides will continue to go at it for another 10 plus 15 or so minutes. Shaw is able to head that one along, and Mazzola keeps it in play. I was talking about set pieces earlier. Such an important part of the game. Martin Vasquez said that in this league they're so huge. We've won and lost games because of set pieces. So they put a lot of time into it, and it's almost like an entire separate scouting report because they have to identify the threats and vulnerabilities of teams on those set pieces situations. There's Jaramillo, and he's waved off.
Well, especially in League One where the teams are so even, right? The talent is so evenly spread across the league. There's not too many real game breakers, right? And it can come down to a set piece or a mistake a lot of the times. Greenville not known for its set piece prowess over the years. Aaron Walker can certainly strike them. Gavilanya's tried one earlier. I don't have the numbers on goals scored from set pieces, but Greenville certainly has to be down the bottom. But after a great start here, the first 35 minutes at home, and not a must-win game, but it will be a critical 3 points. So get Greenville off the schneid. Taking short. Doesn't look out of place so far, Mark.
Yeah, he's fit right in.
Boy's back on the right now.
Always have that capability of switching things up, especially a Greenville side that love to switch out their wingers, keep those fullbacks on their toes.
Speaking of wingers, Venton Evans on the bench tonight.
Castro brings this one down, still with it, gets it to Gavilanya's. Gavilanya's still, it's a retreat to the corner. There's Pilato.
Evans missed the last contest due to personal reasons. I'm sure we may see him tonight at some point.
Yeah, I thought he was a positive in that Tormenta game, which was the last time we saw him. Shaw floats it in, brought down by Gavilanya's. Plays it back to Pilato. Try to let one fly.
He's looking for back-to-back bangers. Goal of the week. Goal of the week contestant this week, Mark. Noah Pilato. It was a quality strike. That's all he does, right?
Yeah, beautiful curler. And there he is. This one, not so much.
A little surprised by the way Fuego have come out in this one, Mark. I expected with the game Saturday against the top team in the league, I would have thought Fuego would have come out with a little more energy in this one, try and pick up the 3 points here and then almost have a free shot on Saturday against Charlotte. You know, anything you get out of that would be a bonus. Against a struggling Greenville side, they've just looked a little lethargic. I know it's a long way, but they haven't played in a week.
And it's not like either of these sides have the advantage energy-wise because both have been playing in a cramped schedule as of late and both have a game on Saturday. So it's not like one is in the situation to throw everything at the wall and the other isn't.
And obviously credit to the way Greenville have come out defensively in this one. I see Diego Casillas pushing a little more central here.
Sometimes the emphasis of preparation is recovery. John Harkes talked about that a little bit. Talked about it with both coaches, is how important recovery is in this half week, or I guess full week for Martin Vasquez, half week for John Harkes in preparation for this game. And if all the bad luck injury-wise and some of the unfortunate scheduling wasn't enough for this Greenville side, they've also just run into other unfortunate bouts of luck. They mentioned they had their flight canceled out of Madison, so they had to bus to Milwaukee, fly to Atlanta, and then bus from Atlanta back to Greenville after that game. Just can't catch a break. This one deflects around a couple of times.
I think they caught a break with this game being midweek, though, and getting the taste of that Madison contest out their mouths. I don't think they would have wanted to wait an entire week after that result. No matter the performance, so whenever you lose 4-1, you want to get in another game as quickly as possible.
Make things right.
I mean, obviously they would want the break to get some people healthy, but other than Daniel Wu, I don't think anybody would have helped from even a few more days of rest, to be honest. If this game was on Saturday, I don't think we would have had anybody else back that we don't have tonight. Well, that's delightful ball.
Will he get there in time, though? Casillas, no, he will not. We're nearing 40 minutes in this game. Once again, this has really been the most positive stretch from Central Valley, and that's not really saying a lot because they have been on the back heel for the majority of this game. Got to find some life somewhere. Haven't been able to connect anything going forward. Zola laying this one down the pitch. Casillas to Cerritos.
One damning stat so far is that Fuego are over 62% possession. They've done absolutely nothing with it.
Nothing of much danger.
Certainly come into the game a little more over the last 10 minutes or so, but nothing to show for it. Viljan Bijev trying to talk some tactics here with Cerritos.
Free kick for the Triumph. Obviously, they're wearing their traditional green uniforms at this moment. As this one slips through, Gavilanes to Pilato. Walker to Boyce. Boyce playing it back to Shaw. Sliding challenge there from Ramos, wins it back. Bijev with the outside of his boot, sends it out to several different options. Aramillo. Out to Partida. Ramos centrally, Cerritos. Aramillo once again. Cerritos heads it back over to the left-hand side, and Shaw punts that one away effectively.
A nice touch for a big man, this Aramillo.
Once again at halftime, we'll preview and discuss the story around the Lunar kit. It's kind of tough to do an away kit well sometimes, Ross, but they found a way to not only shake up just the white that usually comes along with an away uni. They've able to make even that unique. You've seen it worn a couple times now.
It's also one of those kits that I'm going to assume looks sharper in person just because of the slight touches to it with the moonscape.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't always show up as well on TV, but I'm sure it looks really sharp in person.
Castro. Gavilanes. Plays back to Coutinho. Coutinho working it forward. Inside to Castro, gives it right back. Coutinho to Pilato. Pilato shoots! And double the advantage for the Triumph. A wonderful exchange. Brilliant build-up from the Triumph. And a well-earned 2-goal lead for the home side.
Saturday with the left foot, Wednesday night with the right foot. Noah Pilato, John Harkes last year, every game this man was out, he'd say we really need to get Noah back in, and this is what he can do from the edge of the box. He'll score goals, and what a time to score.
Noah Pilato with the fantastic finish. You knew that goal on Saturday was a boost for his confidence. Getting back healthy and then just doing it again the very next match day.
It's a lovely first touch, took him away from the defender. Pitch North should have done a little better. It was lovely, well placed by Pilato with power inside the corner of the post.
That goal brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville. I'd love to go back and count how many passes were connected prior to that goal because Greenville just worked that one out.
Good pass, but didn't look like it was anything dangerous, right? But then Pilato just pulls that out. That's what he was doing 2 years ago when he was scoring those bangers. Can't leave him any space anywhere around the box because he'll make you pay.
Or else I was about to say before that, as this half was winding out, that it would be safe to say that it's been pretty much entirely 100% Greenville, and I think a second goal solidifies that.
Just done a lot. We talked about possession. We always talk about possession, Mark, and how useful it is. But it's only really useful when you do something with it. And Greenville, when they've had the ball tonight, they've always looked dangerous going into that final third, something we really haven't seen from them yet this season.
We've been telling the guys, let's stick together. That's what John Harkes said after. And we're going to get a foul here, denying a breakaway chance for Central Valley.
Vion BJ's got to be careful here. Not for the first time tonight. He's having some words with Emma Richard. Evan Lee got a little lucky, perhaps. A bit sloppy. He certainly got clipped.
I think it was Jaramillo, yeah.
On the ankle. BJ wasn't on him.
That's twice now that he's come to the defense of one of his teammates. And you know that's going to sit in the back of the head of the official.
And just a little frustration from BJ. You've had 60% possession, only managed one shot on goal. One shot period. 3 touches in the opponent's box. And you go to the break here. Martin Vasquez has some work to do. Does have some options on the bench. David Diaz to hear Vasquez offensively.
Coutinho nearly bringing this one down in the 18 again. Greenville fan scan source accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years.
Reedy River Riot haven't had much to sing about so far this season, but making their voices heard tonight. Obviously in a much different place in the stadium than they used to be at Legacy Early, giving opposing goalies grief for 45 minutes. You see them down there in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, 3 minutes of stoppage time brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep.
Well, you just got to be careful not to do anything silly. Don't want to give away a late goal here.
Or even a card. You don't want to just collect a card.
Well, that was Boyce again. Trying to stop the free kick. He's got to be careful with his yellow already.
Meanwhile, for Central Valley Fuego, if you could create something here on this set piece, even if it doesn't result in a goal, it's something to hang your hat on going into the break. Bijev plays it in, and it goes right to the hands of Mazzola. Yeah, it's just been lackluster from this visiting side.
They've had opportunities like that to get that ball into the danger area. It just hasn't been a good enough ball. Jaramillo asking for time wasting. I don't remember the last time anybody was ever called for 6 seconds, Mr. Jaramillo. Zola wanted the assist, maybe.
So here's Walker. This ball will swing in. Boyce brought it down. Didn't quite hit the ball the way he would have liked.
I think he was caught in 2 minds there about bringing it down, or perhaps just trying a ridiculous shot on the first timer.
Bijev will look to track this down. Shaw is equal to him in pace, and ultimately just sends up a deep throw in for Greenville. So that'll be a free kick. Foul called on Cerritos. It's been frustrating for this side.
And John Harkes is going to have to talk to his team, though, about the fact that this Martin Vasquez will certainly try to do something here at the half to change his team's fortunes, and Greenville need to be ready for it. The first 15 minutes of the second half, he knows that they're going to start throwing bodies forward at some point.
Everyone has different seasons. Some start off strong, then you fall into a skid and the players start doubting the process. That was what John Hart's talking about. You mentioned earlier how sometimes that losing streak can happen in the middle of the year and it's not as big of a deal as we're going to get another free kick here.
Wow. In a very dangerous position. Coutinho's already got his hands on it. Catalanias wants a piece of it. Lucas says, it's on your side, you can have this one. Wasn't far away with the last attempt, Mark. You just got to dip it down a yard or so. This should be the last kick of the half.
And they'll be going up against Mitch North. Martin Vasquez calls him one of our most professional players, has the best attitude. He said he's always the first one onto the pitch in training. Has a great disposition on top of that. Mentioned how strong he finished last year. And he's picked right back up where he left off.
Aaron Walker's too close to the wall. He's got to get that yard away. Emma Richards is marking that yard.
Gavilanes fires, and it's into the hands of Mitch North.
Yeah, North was always leaning that way. It was going to have to be something over the wall if Gavilanes was going to beat him.
And there is the halftime whistle. I think it's fair to say that this was a half that Greenville was looking for. Oh, so needed a performance like this. They are up 2-0 over Central Valley Fuego, thanks to a goal from Lucas Coutinho and Noah Pallotta with his second in a row this season. So they'll go to the dressing room feeling good and debating how to maintain that lead. Meanwhile, Central Valley Fuego need a quick change in momentum and look in this game. And we're going to have a couple of good looks here at halftime. We have a lot to touch base on, so you do not want to close your window, your TV, whatever you're viewing on. Halftime coming up next on ESPN+.
My colonel was calling me and saying, hey man, these COVID rates are really high. We need some medics to come help give shots. Medicine is just a passion. Like, I love helping people. So I started learning about the vaccines, and I saw how I could make a difference.
The South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars each year to help students like Keenan prepare for their dream careers.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
As we welcome you back to Greenville, South Carolina, the scoreline, the Greenville Triumph 2, Central Valley Fuego 0. We've got some great halftime content coming your way, starting up with a discussion about the Greenville Triumph's new...
The mill that went to the moon.
Listen, the Eagle has landed.
Well, Ross, I mean, along with his many accomplishments and accolades, John F. Kennedy can add being on a League One broadcast to that long laundry list of things he's accomplished.
For sure. Listen, I love a good kit. My wife will tell you I have too many of them. I love a good kit with a story, and this kit has a great story behind it. Kudos to Doug Irwin, the chief brand officer, working with Hummel, who Hummel always seems to like to push the envelope right when it comes to kits. We've had the topographical kit last year for Greenville. Yeah, this is an awesome kit. I hope everybody goes out and buys it.
And if you're not privy to spending the amount of money it takes to buy a kit, sometimes it can be a little bit pricey. There are t-shirts and hats, and they are adorable. I love the image of the astronaut kicking the soccer ball. I mean, sign me up. I want to get one of those myself.
But how far would that soccer ball go, Mark? That's the real question.
That is a real question.
Asking, right?
I mean, I guess if it's me or Noah Pallotta kicking it, it'll be different answers.
No, not in space. Concerned. It won't.
That's true. Well, anyway, one way or another, if you're interested in getting one of these kits, you can scan the QR code or you can see the hyperlink at the bottom of the screen. You're going to want to check it out. They're really nice. I think it's a great twist on an away kit, in my opinion. And with that in mind, we'll step aside for a moment. We still got some great halftime content coming your way, though.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know,
Back for more halftime here. Neil Vinyals winning player of the month. Had his assist. Mike Jeffries winning coach of the month. I think that makes sense, getting yourself into that top of the table to start off the season. And then, of course, I think the big story right now, of course, the U.S. Open Cup. Part of the reason why these two teams in particular, are a bit more exhausted than maybe they would have been at another point in the season. And here's the games we have in League One across the Open Cup. Any of these games really jump out to you, Ross?
I'm sad to see all the USL League One teams on the road. I thought perhaps we would get at least one home game, but I'm really looking forward to Tormenta at Charlotte. Charlotte, not the hardest team in MLS. Tormenta, we can see what they can do. Had a nice little run last year, and obviously Omaha. Can they repeat their run from last year?
Yeah, and against a brand new club as well in St. Louis City SC. Should be a fun one there. Obviously, all of those teams capable of pulling off the upset as we look at the team of the week. Owen Green getting the goal against his former team, getting the win, the first ever win in Lexington SC history.
Yeah, former Greenville player Jake Keegan at the bottom there, as well as former Fuego player Cheney as well.
As we look at the scores from across the league, of course, only one other game happening. Charlotte Independence in Omaha. I told Ken Leficka, the broadcaster, before the game, get ready for a lot of goals. Of course, I just gave him the commentator's drinks before the broadcast.
You did.
And now here's what's coming up this weekend. Some Friday fun, and then two games on Saturday. Greenville playing Lexington for the first time, and Central Valley Fuego on the road for the early fixture against the Jacks.
We need to come up with a name for that Greenville Lexington, not a derby, but the green. Well, too much green in those logos, but first trip for them to
green jerseys, a green pitch. What more green could you want? We'll step aside and we'll get back to Greenville's home game against Central Valley Fuego on the other end of this break.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
My colonel was calling me and saying, hey man, these COVID rates are really high. We need some medics to come help give shots. Medicine is just a passion. Like, I love helping people. So I started learning about the vaccines, and I saw how I could make a difference.
The South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars each year to help students like Keenan prepare for their dream careers.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
Tonight's USL League One match is presented by Hummel North America, official kit partner of the Greenville Triumph. (2-0) your scoreline after 45, but we got 45 more on the docket here. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport. Let's take a look at the highlights here. Halftime highlights here with the Triumph and the Fuego. Starting in the 11th minute, and I just said the Fuego, Ross, so we've both done it now. We see this first goal. Maybe some controversy here. No foul called. Coutinho scores it, though, and you play till the whistle, though.
For sure, and everybody, I think Fuego sort of half stopped. You see half the defense putting their hands up. Mohamed Dabo was still playing it. A lovely finish in the end by number 10, Lucas Coutinho, and it was a deserved goal to start this one. Greenville dominated the first 20 minutes.
And they would continue to hold control over the game. And then this build-up that would lead with this exchange between Coutinho and Pilato, putting it home. So Coutinho now, at this point in time, I think definitely on pace to be the player of the game should nothing else happen. A goal and an assist in the first 45 minutes of action. And we'll take a look at the halftime stats brought to you by Warehouse Services, Inc.
Well, those top three lines tell the story, Mark. Ignore that fourth line. Possession with the edge of Fuego, but they've done nothing with it. As you can see, one shot on target, Greenville with a 2-0 lead, and a deserved one at the half. The last time Greenville won a game scoring multiple goals was back in mid-July last season when Jacob Labovitz scored a hat-trick in a 3-1 win over Richmond.
Big win that game was. Bounced back after that 5-5 wild one against Tormenta.
You did that one, yes.
Yeah, not a lot of goals since then for this Greenville side, just on both sides. And we've got 2 in favor of the Triumph here in this game. Every player trying to make sure they keep their legs beneath them. An important priority for both these teams. Have to play on Saturday, as we talked about in our last halftime segment. Both going on the road and playing against sides that, well, in Lexington's case, didn't have to play in the midweek. Of course, Charlotte's playing right now and are trying to wind down a game against Omaha.
Fuego will stay on the East Coast. They will not travel back to California between these games. So Charlotte tomorrow, I would assume.
I think that makes the most logistical sense. There's Tevin Shaw, a player to watch before the game, and he's not been of concern here. You know, you always have that worry that you're plugging a player into a new position, especially on that back line that's been so beleaguered this season. It's been a non-worry for the Triumph.
Well, they haven't been tested much in those first 45 minutes, Mark. We'll see if Martin Vasquez changes things a little bit to try and force some pressure on that makeshift back line for Greenville. I don't know whether we'll see any personnel changes at the half. We'll see. They certainly can't do any worse than those first 45 minutes in the final third, especially against, as we said, this makeshift back line that I think they would have been pushing pressure on from minute 1.
So both units will return to the pitch, switch sides. Let's see what kind of adjustments these two teams have made. So we will get a substitution for Central Valley Fuego. So 2 switches for Central Valley Fuego. Andrew Forth comes out for Omar Lemus. And then Alexis Cerritos is leaving the game for David Diaz, who had a great game against Greenville last season. And then on the other side of things, Devin Boyce on the yellow card will make his way to the bench. Liam McKinnon will come in his stead.
And that'll be a straight up swap at the right wing spot. Ryan McKinnon, the man from Switzerland.
So here is Victor Falk looking to kick things off in a better manner here in the next 45 minutes for Central Valley Fuego. Ramos lofts this one down the right-hand side. And it's headed out by Bigger. Got a couple of youth clubs here today for the Greenville Triumph. You can see them at the bottom of your screen right now.
I'm sure John Hawks will have told his team these first 10 or 15 minutes are going to be crucial in the second half.
Oh, they're going to be throwing everything at you, trying to change the complexion of this game. Poor touch from Bigger. Here's Bijev. Still going with it, Bijev. Lets it fly and is asking for the whistle and won't get it.
Jonah Bigger just a little too casual there. Can't do that with Bijev hanging around. Starting this half on the right side. See if that change with Diaz. Perhaps Victor Falk pushes a little forward more to a 4-4-2 with Bijev. He can play the 10 as well as out wide. Seen that in his Fuego career. We asked Martin Vasquez which is his best position. He did say left wing. After cutting off that left wing as the right footer.
And he likened it to how Ronaldo likes to play on the left-hand side. Substitution brought to you by Spinks, by the way. Gavilanes was able to get that one to graze off of Lamouche. We'll have a PNC's corner for kids. Gavilanes will bring it over to the flag and we'll be looking to swing this one in. Coutinho swings this one in, and that one is headed away confidently. Greenville will recover the ball and will once again push forward. Shaw floats it in. McKinnon getting his head on it. Now Castro trying to fight for it back. Evan Lee is bullying his way in there. Gavilanes again out wide. Gavilanes with the cross, and that one got too much juice on it. Partida makes a mess of that one. No one was around him. Couldn't quite bring it in. Walker to Pilato. It's Pilato again. That one goes straight to the chest and cleared out. Central Valley.
See Greenville just knocking it about with confidence. 2-0. We always talk about the 2-0 lead in soccer. Greenville look like they want that third quickly.
That one knocked away. Paco Craig leads Miami FC into Kentucky to face Josh Winder in the reigning Eastern Conference winner, Louisville City FC. Don't miss the start of the new season on the USL on ESPN, Saturday, May 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. We're owning Josh Winder. We're looking to see if he can make an appearance tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. The U.S. playing Mexico in a friendly. The rivalry, of course.
Is it Continental Classico? That's what it's called. They obviously seem to play each other a lot, the U.S. and Mexico, which makes sense. As close as they are. 10 o'clock. See if Josh Winder gets in that game. Obviously just US-based players in that one for the men's national team, not in an international break. So no Europeans available. No European-based players available, I should say. Still amazing that we've got a USL player in the men's national team, Mark. Who would have thought?
That is wild. Incredible stuff for the USL. And incredible for Josh Winder in particular.
His brother Elijah spent some time last year in USL League One with FC Tucson.
Falling down there is Casillas. He's able to get back up with the ball. Fuego will throw this one back in. looking for that midfield to make something happen. Ozzy Ramos, one of those players. I talked about the relationship between the likes of Ramos, Cerritos, and Falk, all very talented players individually. I wanted to get an idea of how their relationship has developed off the pitch or just in training day by day. And Martín Vázquez said that throughout the preseason from last year to now, they've developed this sort of chemistry, and it's only getting better and better. He mentioned that Ozzy and Victor are proven guys in this league, and Alexis Cerritos is ready to prove that coming off of an injury, as that one just gets out from Mazzola. He said they complement each other so well because they're different. All bring something different to the table.
Well, with Jose Carrera Garcia coming back at some point soon, all these guys are sort of auditioning, right, for a starting role. Who makes way for Carrera Garcia? You don't want to be that guy.
This is true.
Oh. To get a card there. That collision from behind for frustrated Jaramillo.
Take a look at this one more time.
It wasn't very late, that's for sure.
Not the first foul he's been called for, though, on the other hand, so I wonder how many more of those he'll be given leeway for.
So Fuego with that goalless first half. They've failed to score a goal in all 4 of their League One games this season in the first half. It's Greenville looking to make up some of that goal difference from Saturday. Doing a good job of it so far. Certainly love a third.
Coutinho will pry for one here. Slips it through nicely for Walker. Walker not really anywhere to go with it. Plays it back. Pilato squares it. Here's a shot from Lee.
Worth an effort.
So we've had a long-range center back shot from both Polak and Lee.
I think Lee scored a goal last season, right? I seem to remember.
Did. Yes,
he did. First one as a Triumph player.
It was a big one, too.
Tyler Polak still waiting for his first goal. We mentioned earlier in the first half.
If I remember correctly, it was a late game equalizer down a man against the Hailstorm.
Just kind of jumped on the loose ball, and a yellow card here for Leo Castro.
That'll be his first as a member of the Greenville Triumph. A 33-year-old Colombian. So he'll go into the books.
So we'll see what happened here.
Has issued a caution to Greenville's number 25, Leonardo Castro, in the 53rd.
I don't think we got the best view of it. So we'll take Emma Richards' word for it. Bijev. Knocked out of his feet, but goes back to teammates, so not too much harm from it. So Central Valley just trying to find some time on the ball in the attacking third. They've been so little of it. 0.05 expected goals as of right now for the visitors. Jaramillo gets that one poked out by Shaw.
Somewhat of a good matchup for Greenville. The Greenville defense. Jaramillo, not the most mobile forward in the world. Greenville has trouble with pace, quickness, and agility, which Fuego don't possess particularly, certainly in spots perhaps. They just haven't been able to unlock this low block at all tonight so far. Pilato and Walker just sitting deep in that midfield 3, blocking things up.
Yeah, they certainly can share in the credit for their success so far in neutralizing this Fuego attack, which is chock full of guys who can really hurt you. Zola will take the free kick here. Lobs it all the way down. It's poked up, still in danger. It's being bobbled about and then cleared away by Chavez. That might have been more of a self-made danger moment for Central Valley Fuego than what Greenville was cooking up themselves.
Tevin Shaw with another key foot in there. So there's a half chance Leo Castro would love to get off the mark tonight in his League One career.
Casillas plays it back to Falk, and he sends Lamuse running.
We mentioned Fuego with a tough one on Saturday at league leaders Charlotte. They do have 3 home games after that in a row against Knoxville, North Carolina, and Tormenta. It's only 3 difficult matchups. But
I was about to say, those are
a long
2
way
tough
to go.
games.
It's
but
a long way to go out there to Fresno, though.
To be fair, though, you mentioned those 3 teams, and then I think you could have said any 3 teams, and I'd say they're tough matches as at this point.
A little bit of nonsense here between Casillas and Gavilanes. See, they'll get Santa Barbara next season, playing out with them there in California. Be good for the West Side teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Bijev is offside once again, just a frustrated figure out there, Viljan Bijev.
Just has not been his night so far.
And the next game after that, they travel to the Hailstorm, Fuego. Off to a great start. Northern Colorado, no goals allowed so far. 3 shutouts for Delgado between the pipes.
Very different from the last season for Ayman Zayed's side.
That team is one to watch, Mark. The Hailstorm have spent some money in the right places. Ayman Zayed, always a great coach to talk to midweek as well. He's not afraid of telling you how he feels and why he's doing things.
Coutinho shrugging off some contact. Tried the insightful ball in the middle. Castro just winning it back. Leo Castro still with it. Steps by Falk. Castro shoots! A solo effort there from Leonardo Castro. Couple eye-widening moments there from him.
He's close, Mark. He's getting closer. He's had chances almost every game. That was a beautiful dispossession. Castro looked up. He had help both sides. Decided to cut back inside Victor Falk. Was closed down in the end by Chavez. Did get the deflection, though, and the corner.
This PNC's corner for kids. Miguel Gavilanes once again with the service. Gavilanes floats it in. That one headed away. Walker retrieves it. Walker goes down and wins the free kick.
Silly there from Lamuse. Chance now for Greenville to get it into the box. Martin Vasquez has to be scratching his head and his team in this one as we approach the hour mark. Just absolutely nothing going forward. Still just the 1 shot on goal. XG of 0.05. It's not going to win you many games. Outshot 13-1.
5 corner kicks for Greenville, none for Central Valley Fuego. Another indicator of just where the ball has been.
4 touches in the opponent's box for CVF, 22 for Greenville. Doesn't look like 10 yards, Mark, but I'm not going to question it.
Service comes in, and North avoiding contact with McKinnon there. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Ofek went down, but we're happy with Mitch, is what Martin Vasquez ended his statements on Mitch North. We chatted about him for a brief moment.
Listen, he can say what he wants, but Ofek Antman, I think for many, was a dark horse candidate for goalkeeper of the year last year. Kept Fuego in a lot of games, made some big saves, big vocal leader at the back. As we mentioned earlier, missing a couple of starters on that back line.
And he's a guy who's never short of energy.
That pass kind of summed up Central Valley's night. Just a little clueless at times. Trying to find answers here in the final half hour. It's poor from Greenville.
Aaron Walker just missing that connection with Gavilanes.
Just the 1 sub for Greenville. Still Jacob Labovitz, Gabo, Venton Evans, Alex Cox-Ashwood on the bench. I'm sure John would like to give Gabo his first appearance as a Triumph player in League One.
He likes what he sees in Gabo. Anytime he mentions him,
I think he'd like 1 more goal though before that happens.
Once again, this is as it stands right now, huge response from Greenville from the start of this season. Players have been learning some hard lessons, and you mentioned some of the younger guys on the team have responded really well to this adversity, and as a staff, they really like that. He mentioned the character of this group has been really good.
It's certainly a test, right, Mark? You got these young, new players playing with you that weren't here last season. See how they deal with adversity early on this season. Obviously something you never want to see happen this early. That's maybe the one positive from it. You get to see how these youngsters deal with a rough start to the season.
Well, coming off of David Diaz, subbed in at halftime, really haven't seen him or said his name up until just now.
Stoppage time in Charlotte, still 0-0 between the Independents and Union Omaha. Maybe more shocking result than this, Mark.
Yeah.
There's been no goals in that game, as well as those two teams have been playing offensively.
You just never know with this league. You never know. It's like you said earlier, this league, not a lot of separation takes place. Castro trying to catch the keeper off his line, but it doesn't dip down enough. North got to be careful there.
I think he was back there just in time. So Castro just looked up here, 40 yards out, 50 yards out it would have been, because the goal is halfway into the end zone. He was on the 45-yard line. Audacious attempt. We've seen League One goal scored from there before.
Yeah, Rafa Mensingen scored one last year. And then I believe it was a North Carolina player.
That first one.
It was against Richmond. And of course we had the goalie goal that went almost the whole distance. North Carolina involved in all three of those, or sorry, no, because Rafa Mensingen was with Chattanooga last year. Trying to remember who the lead striker was for North Carolina FC in 2021. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
Yeah, well, I'm the wrong person to ask about remembering things, Mark.
And then Ricky Lopez Espin, I see you pulling it up right now.
That was the one I was thinking of, was our current commentator here. Well, USL Championship, Ricky Lopez Espin.
Scored that one on Tormenta with Fort Lauderdale.
That was the one I was thinking in my head.
So there's also another North Carolina one against Richmond from 21 that I recall from midfield. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember the name. I've got the face, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. Casillas winning the ball back. Bijev. Strolling as he goes. Now he puts on some pace, squares it, and finds the feet of Polak.
Tyler Polak. Just has a knack for being in the right place at the right time, does that man. No matter what position he's playing.
We're going to whistle here. Might be another hydration break. We had one in the first half. I'd like to see what the decision is. I believe we have a player down, actually. And that's Diego Casillas.
As a reminder, alcohol sales will end at the 70th minute.
Blaming to the assistant referee that somebody clipped him. Looks like his boot came off. Let's take another look at it here. He's in the channel. Heading into the penalty box now.
He just took a bad step. You always fear on these pitches.
He either stepped on Tevin Shaw's foot or Tevin Shaw steps on his foot. Seems to be all right though. Casillas. Oh, I'll take that back. He's coming off.
So Zahir Vasquez will come in Casillas' place. Gotta play it safe again. Worth re-emphasizing. This team plays on Saturday.
Perhaps Martin Vasquez was just going to see how this game went. Get off to a good start. Give it your all here and try and get the 3 points. But obviously down 2-0 now. You've got to think about Saturday, Mark. You're right. Save some bodies, save some legs. That's a poor giveaway.
Here's Coutinho with some room to work with. Coutinho still going. Lucas Coutinho shoots! And he makes it 3. Coutinho with the night to remember.
This is the game that John Harkes has been looking for out of Lucas Coutinho. So there he is. You can see what it means for John Harkes. Former Tormenta man. Never had that nasty head injury. He collided with the goalkeeper during his career at Tormenta, and this is what a night for him. He's the attacking, when he brought him in, we all said, Mark, this is the attacking midfielder with the creativeness the Triumph needed. It's just all played off him here, played off him, and a superb left-footed finish from 18 yards out. Mitch North swiping it air.
Back and better than ever, Lucas Coutinho. A wonderful strike. And the Triumph making their entrance known to League One this season, looking to firmly secure their first points of the season and their first win of the season. That goal brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville.
Certainly an early candidate for Player of the Week. I think John Harkes may start to think about some substitutions now with their game coming up on Saturday. And he made the one so far. McKinnon in for Boyce. We have a final in Charlotte, no goals between the Independents and Union Omaha. What a response from Greenville after Saturday. I don't think anybody saw this coming, Mark.
I also found the name of the North Carolina goal scorer.
There you go.
Now. Robert Christo.
Robert, that's right, Robert Christo, with the tall dude with the bleach blonde hair, right?
Yep, exactly. I knew his face, but I couldn't remember
history,
the name.
I think. And then he just vanished. I didn't see much of him after that.
But bringing it back to this game, 3-0 in favor of the Triumph.
Haven't seen any sub action yet from John Harkes.
Keep it going a little longer. McKinnon.
Alan Gavilanes was obviously dealing with an ankle injury earlier this season. I think Venton Evans might get some action here in the last 24 minutes.
That back line for Central Valley will look to bring it forward. Along that back line, Andrew Forth, a late addition to the team this season. Interesting story, Andrew Forth, as Gavilanes makes a great touch there.
Cheeky, we'd call that, Mark. Cheeky.
Yep. Gavilanes is now slow to get up right after that.
Now he's clutching that ankle. I'm not sure if that's the one he hurt. That was an ankle issue that he was dealing with a week or two ago. Seems to be all right.
Get that collision again here.
Got the ball.
There's contact from Lamousse. Talking about Andrew Forth, though. Martin Vasquez called him very composed and consistent. He said he can play right back if we need it, and that's sort of the role he's plugged into today. Mentioned how they lost 3 center backs in the preseason, so like you brought up before, Greenville not the only team struggling with backline issues.
Fuego really hadn't been exposed till tonight, Mark. They've done pretty well defensively the first 3 games.
Here they come again. McKinnon.
The shutout against Chattanooga. He lost 2-0 to Omaha, and then 1-1 against Knoxville. Omaha been scoring pretty well this season. Yellow card here for someone.
Richards is going to give, not Bijev, it's Ramos. I was almost certain it was going to be Bijev, the way the body language of two looking in that situation, but Ramos will get his first yellow card of the season.
Yeah, just clip the ankle of Liam McKinnon. That's a yellow card all day, every day.
Aaron Walker plays this one over to the right-hand side. McKinnon sends in the cross, headed out.
Big game for Austin Pack tonight, Mark. In Charlotte, 9 saves.
Wow.
And all 9 shots from Omaha from inside the box. What a night for Austin Pack as he continues to win that goalkeeping battle there in Charlotte over Noah Abrams.
Foul drawn there.
19 shots total for Omaha to 9 for Charlotte. Nobody gets the 3 points there. Charlotte hit the post once.
Some talking to happening between Emma Richards and Jared Mazzola right now.
And hasn't had much to do tonight. Just the one shot on target, so the one save for Mazzola, a man out of Quinnipiac. College hockey champions, if I remember correctly, Mark,
exactly.
recently. I'm not sure how much of a hockey fan Jared Mazzola is, but
I'm sure he had to have been within the know.
For sure.
Exciting ending to that game. I was able to catch the tail end of that Quinnipiac game. Of course, that's not to the liking of our producer. Walker plays this back to Mazzola. 7 minutes through. We're going to get a substitution here. Jacob Labovitz is going to come in for Leo Castro. And then also for Central Valley Fuego, Victor Falk out for Adrian Vera. Worth noting, I talked to John Harks a little bit about Labovitz and Castro. There have been times they've both been on the pitch at the same time this season. Coming in, I kind of felt like they were both competing for a similar role. So I asked him, so what's the dynamic like between the two of them? How's that going along? These substitutions brought to you by Spinks as they go underway. And Harks mentioned that it takes time to develop that relationship with each other. They're learning to respect each other's strengths and attributes. And he mentioned it doesn't help that we have to keep shaking things up formationally. He said it'll get better as the season goes along, their understanding of each other's roles, whether on the pitch at the same time or not.
I think John Harks' preferred formation would be with either a 9 and a 10 or two central forwards up there, but I think he's so blessed in the midfield with talent that it's hard to leave any of those, the likes of Boyce Coutinho, Pilato and Gavilanes. It's hard to leave any of those off the pitch to start a game, right? So I think John will go with it and see how the season flows. Obviously injuries could play a role, as we've seen they have at the back. They've been relatively healthy recently in the midfield and the forwards sections. Had some trouble early. Relatively healthy now.
As far as getting used to the game is concerned for a striker, that's something that Martin Vasquez mentioned about Otonio Jaramillo, who has had some moments in this game, but nothing ever too dangerous. He mentioned that they're giving him more and more responsibilities game by game, and he talked about how Jaramillo is going to have to learn to respect the center backs in this league because they're very physical, and he's got to adjust to that, playing in leagues that are more technical in nature. Jaramillo, of course, coming over from Guatemala and Peru the last few seasons.
We haven't seen a huge ton of success, long-term success from big, tall center forwards in this league so much, Mark. Marius Lomas obviously had a spell with Greenville when he scored relatively frequently, but didn't end up sticking around. I say that center backs are probably one of the strongest. I think Martin Vasquez talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Center backs, probably the strongest part of this league. So many great pairings.
Yeah, I would agree.
From top to bottom. And they're big physical guys, so sometimes we've seen the success of Terzaghi, right? Small, quick poacher. And obviously Keziah Sterling. We haven't seen the big success from the big boys up top in League One as of yet.
And the big number 9 is going to make his way off the pitch. Jaramillo will come in for, or will come out for Harold Hansen. Substitution here. So that'll be the end of his night, Otonio Jaramillo.
Harold Hansen, a defender, so clearly just trying to give Jaramillo a rest and try to limit the damage here by Martin Vasquez.
They left on Tuesday to come down to Greenville, and then they're going to leave tomorrow on a bus from Greenville to Charlotte. Give them several days to get ready to play the Jacks. Martin Vasquez said it's the best way to go about it. He shouted out his staff for figuring out the logistics of all of it.
Here's Henson now, certainly pushing a little more forward than we're used to seeing him. He's more of a fullback. A couple of MLS appearances with Portland Timbers. Spent time in USL Championship with Timbers too as well. A lot of USL Championship. I see more and more players with USL Championship experience coming into this league, Mark. I didn't used to see that too much the first 2 or 3 years.
Now it seems like every team's got a couple.
And then we're seeing a lot of these academy players from England as well coming in. Onan, obviously Keziah Sterling, guys that didn't make it for whatever reason in England. Obviously Billy King coming over from Scotland. It's great to see. Again, some teams spending a little more than others. Doesn't guarantee success in this league though.
Certainly not. Gavilanes gets the cross in and the header. Some ambitious work there. Doesn't quite come to fruition. But at this point, you're okay throwing things at the ball and seeing if it'll stick at 3-0. Central Valley, they've got to figure out how to flip things around on this road trip coming up on Saturday. You take solace in the fact that Charlotte were withstanding a flurry of attacks today.
He's very solid defensively. Jeffrey's traditional 4-4-2. Pack it if he needs to, and obviously with Ping Kelly and Lexa Bobertan, they can go the other way quickly. It'll be a big test for Fuego.
An embarrassment of attacking riches.
Just still haven't figured out what this team is, Mark. Fuego, they just haven't looked good at all tonight. Last season and in the first few games, they had moments of it, but just haven't really found their identity. It's maybe a different proposition when Carrera Garcia gets back in the middle of that midfield to run the show. Obviously, when you build this team from scratch, but you obviously built a team that could work around Carrera Garcia, right? Careful.
Bigger.
And then when you don't have him, and when you plan to have him, to play in preseason, not cleared to play in the regular season yet.
Both the literal and figurative centerpiece of
100%.
this Central Valley team.
Martin Vasquez knew what he wanted, went out and got it, and now doesn't have it yet. He's poor. Obviously not going to have him on Saturday either, you'd have to think.
So they'll be waiting for the time when JCG officially arrives. And a proven commodity in USL League One. Gavilanes touches loose there. Lemous does well to slip it to Hansen. He'll give it right back. Lemous gets that one deflected, but not out of play. Instead into the hands of Mazzola.
It's maybe the second time in this game, Mark, that they've actually looked somewhat dangerous, showing a bit of quick decision making and pace. It's been not enough of it tonight from the visitors. Aaron Walker. If it wasn't for Lucas Coutinho, Aaron Walker would certainly be a candidate for man of the match tonight. Dominating that center of that midfield, the veteran.
McKinnon drags it towards goal, and it's wide off the mark.
The former Oglethorpe Stormy Petrel, as I like to. One of the best college nicknames.
Here's David Diaz, a young talent. Diaz plays it in. And we're trying to contort something there.
That's 3.
Gavilanes played down the pitch for Coutinho to run after.
Whoa! What was that? That was some schoolboy stuff there. That was ridiculous from Mohamed Dab. I'm not sure if he thought he was going to get away with that. Not sure what he's complaining about either. An indirect free kick.
Yeah, that was just...
Mitch North is smiling about it at least. Mohamed Dabo, not a traditional... I think he perhaps thought North was going to play it with his feet, but Coutinho was within 3 or 4 yards of him, and that was never going to happen. Just a miscommunication. Now a chance for somebody to touch it perhaps and fire one on target. These aren't easy though. These indirect free kicks inside the box. Obviously once you touch the ball, that wall can advance.
Yeah, you got to be quick about it if you're going to do one of those tap or back roll exchanges.
I assume they practice these in training. Aaron Walker coming over now to have a word.
Perhaps help facilitate.
Just an option as well.
So it's the three of them.
See the ball ready to pounce.
And Coutinho's shot will skip through and ultimately provide no harm.
Good block by David Diaz.
This one will pop out to Bigger. Once again getting the start today. North with a chest and catch. There's Dabo. Playing it forward to Partita. He gets that one mugged away from him by Gavilanes.
Still running hard in the 82nd minute. Gavilanes.
Plays it in, and it's off the chest of Dabo, and that went out.
I thought it hit his hand initially. Maybe it was just the angle. Dabo, not the finest 2 minutes of his career.
I believe that came off his chest, but that certainly looked like it crossed along the byline entirely. Here's a look at it again. Yeah, it went off his chest.
It was the white of his jersey blending in with the white of the Furman logo. Just caused me concern there for a half a second.
Well, in a similar vein to how Greenville got to quickly turn around after that disappointing loss to Madison, Central Valley Fuego in the same vein can count themselves lucky there that they can flip the script quickly and play the Jacks on Saturday. Once again, that'll be an early game.
Not sure that's the team I want to be playing though, Mark, coming off a result like this.
Fair enough.
Come out like this on Saturday against the Independents, it's going to be perhaps even worse than this. Independence will put 3 goals past you in 2 minutes. Oops.
Could be tough sledding.
Fuego still with the same XG they had at halftime, 0.05. Greenville 0.94, 18 shots to 1.
Wow.
6 on target to 1, 9 inside the box to 1. Just the 7 touches in the Greenville box for Central Valley.
Long ball over to Hansen. Hansen with the push on Bigger, and then gets it off of the youngster.
So he doesn't look like a high school senior out there, Mark. Jonah Bigger, he's got the physical ability to match up with a guy like Hansen, who's not small. He's a big lad.
Ozzy Ramos will look to play this corner in. Their first corner kick of the day. And it'll go out. Diaz trying to get on that one. Doesn't hit it cleanly.
Next for Greenville, the trip to Lexington, as we mentioned, on Saturday. The following Saturday, home against NCFC, and then at Charlotte, and then home against Richmond. Certainly 3 of the better. I mean, there's no easy games in League One.
I was about to say, it's kind of hard to pick out 3 games and go, this is an easier portion of the schedule.
Well, those 2 will certainly be a great test. Great test for this Greenville team. NCFC with some great additions in the offseason. Charlotte, obviously, we know what they are. Richmond, off to a disappointing start offensively. They're not the juggernaut they used to be, perhaps, without Bolaños and Bryant now. Jozaki had 12 touches in the game I did on Saturday. Not in the box, 12 touches, period.
Wow.
So they've got to get things going. Obviously beat Greenville earlier this season already.
That game against Lexington on Saturday will be a match both will be coming into a bit jovial, coming off their first wins of the season, each of them. Of course, Lexington's their first win in franchise history. And they'll be looking to ride the momentum, the energy that they got from the crowd in that first victory last Saturday. Had over 2,500 people there. Already have a good base in Lexington of support.
Don Smart, former Greenville midfielder, playing now for Lexington.
This ball floating in. Chested down by Vasquez.
Oh, great save. And a great shot to Jared Mazzola.
He is amped after that one. Great effort, chest down, half volley from Zahir Vasquez.
Corner kick for Central Valley
This is one
Fuego.
of those ones where you saw it coming and you said, oh, I hope he hits this on the volley. And he did, and what a sweet connection. Mazzola had to be ready. He's not the tallest keeper in the world, but great reflexes to get up into that top corner and parry it away. It had tons of pace on it. He had to get a good full hand on it.
So here's Ramos again. Ramos plays it in. Brought back down, then headed away. It's Jonah Bigger again. Having himself a night.
Certainly hasn't looked out of place, Mark.
Greenville fan scan source is accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years.
Also have Nico Brown, former Triumph player, as well as Cesar Maria, 3 of them on the Lexington squad.
Yeah.
Nico Brown scoring over the weekend. Don Smart already has a goal. Cesar Maria with a couple of starts. He wasn't seeing much of it second half with Madison last season. Hurt.
Coutinho slow to get up. So we got 2 more substitutions on the way for the Triumph.
Speed substitution for Greenville. Entering the match.
I think Lucas Coutinho was telling her, yeah, got me where it hurts. I'll be all right. Just roll off the pitch now. Placed by Cox Ashwood. He's rolling the other way.
Alex Cox Ashwood will come in for Coutinho as we see him go down. And then Alan Gavilanez will leave the pitch for Venton Evans.
He just landed a little awkwardly. A great night for Lucas Coutinho. Certainly his best night ever in a Greenville shirt.
2 goals, 1 assist. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks as Alex Cox Ashwood comes into the game. Made a very brief appearance against Madison on Saturday. We'll look to get in a couple more minutes here as well.
Frenchman was a little banged up to start the campaign. Really grew into his role last year with Greenville. Started off a little tentatively, but by the end of the season was a threat to score almost every game he featured in.
Pilato. Very solid from this back line tonight for Greenville.
As soon as you say that.
Yeah, whoops.
You know, Mark with the trip on Tevin Short. Yeah, you're right, Mark. What a night for this back four that when we saw it, we said, oh man, against this potent front five, what we thought was a potent front five of Central Valley Fuego. Didn't turn out to be that tonight by any means. Give a lot of credit to that back four, anchored in the middle by those 2 savvy veterans, Evan Lee and Tyler Pollack. Been here since the start with the Triumph.
Yeah, I was about to bring up earlier when we were talking about physical center backs, how they're all big and tall, and then we've got Tyler Pollack at 5'8", slipping into the spot.
But he plays so much bigger than that, Mark, doesn't he? Always willing to throw his weight around.
Alex Cox Ashwood. A couple other players getting entangled up there. It'll be a free kick for Central Valley.
Half a shout for a penalty. It's going to go the other way, though.
Another long ball from Central Valley. Vasquez bringing it down, but Evan Lee is there for it. Just a bit of a shimmy between the 2 of them as the ball slowly rolled to the sideline. Ball popped in, brought down. Partita with the touch. Thought about the shot there. And then Bijev gets it taken away by Venton Evans.
I'm sure Jared Mazzola and John Harks want to be able to preserve this clean sheet.
Would would be Mazzola's first professional clean sheet. From Katona, New York, Jared Mazzola. Loose touch from Hansen. That one coming off of Polak. Mazzola playing at AFC Ann Arbor.
For Central Valley Fuego.
He also had 5 appearances with Red Bulls U23s in 2021. Nijev with the volley and hit it cleanly, the way he would have liked to. So we're gonna get 2 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep. As this game winds down to a close, Fuego fans, you'll have to make sure you're up in the morning on Saturday. And now Benton Evans poking the ball forward.
Fresh legs.
Maybe wanting another bite before the whistle.
He's going to take it to the corner. Come on, Benton. You're up 3-0, not 1-0. All right.
Sticking to principle.
You got to practice it, I guess. He'll earn himself a corner. No, superb night for the home team. Just what the Doctor ordered after those first 3 struggles. Nobody had written the Greenville off, obviously, through 3 games, but it's 10% of the season, and there were some concerns, especially offensively, but those concerns have been put to sleep tonight. Lucas Coutinho, 2 goals and the assist.
I mean, I keep saying 3 points in March and April matter just as much as 3 points in September and October do. This PNC's Corner for Kids will be taken short.
And Martin Vasquez will try and rescue something from this road trip on Saturday. I'm sure he would take a point against the Independents, without a doubt. Especially after this one. Certainly looked devoid of ideas tonight, and that'll do it.
An impressive showcase. 3 goals and 3 points for the Greenville Triumph. Victors for the first time this season. And also a bit of a milestone win for John Harks. He's collecting win number 50 in his career in league play, including the postseason. There it is. First coach, of course, to reach that mark, winning his coach in League One history.
Congratulations to John Harks, shaking hands with Martin Vasquez. They had a brief moment in the USA men's national team together.
He'll be feeling good that his side on the short week were able to make things happen. Quick turnaround for both these sides, and we've got a quick turnaround on the other end of this break. We have the post-game show coming up next.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
An excellent win at home for the Greenville Triumph. Embraces all around for the home side, getting their first 3 points of the season. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport, for post-game coverage on ESPN+. Lucas Coutinho, 2 goals, 1 assist. Was on fire today offensively. And he'll be savoring this one as we look at the GSP Airport high-flying plays of the match. And it starts with Lucas Coutinho right here, fighting through a couple defenders.
Yeah, little 1-2 with Castro. Controversial moment there. Could perhaps have been called for the free kick, but the shot gets deflected into the back corner of the net. Greenville deserved the lead after a superb start to this one.
You didn't say you fought through 3 players. Victor Valk there on the opening portion of that play, providing some contact to Lucas Coutinho. But in a brilliant start for Greenville, a team that has found themselves conceding early in the games this season up to this point. And then a wonderful exchange, a lot of passes building up to this one, and then Noah Pilato bangs it home.
Yeah, Greenville have been looking for that elusive second goal. It hasn't come very often in the last 18 or so matches, and got it there. Pilato, back-to-back games with a strike from distance. And that was a huge goal. You can see what it meant to them.
Able to make it a 2-goal advantage going into the break. And then the 65th minute, some icing on the cake. Lucas Coutinho all by himself. No one's going to stop him. All right, I'll go ahead and shoot.
Watch the run from Leo Castro here. It took 2 defenders away from Coutinho. They both went with him. Backed off from him. And a great strike by the former Palm Beach Atlantic man.
Doing well now, Lucas Coutinho. As we look at the full-time stats brought to you by Coca-Cola. Once again, ignore that 4th line.
18 shots to 4. Shout out to Aaron Walker, completed 43 of his 47 passes tonight, 91.5%. Ran the show in the midfield quietly. Had a couple of half chances himself from the edge of the box, but a superb effort from everybody in green tonight.
Well, you'll be able to watch these 2 teams this Saturday. Early one for Central Valley against the Jacks, and then Greenville will be playing Lexington Sporting Club for the first time ever in League One history. Of course, that's not too irregular for the brand new side, Lexington. But for our show here today, we thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this midweek broadcast here in USL League One. For Ross Davenport, I'm Mark Schoenster, and the rest of our broadcast crew, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.